Hello boys and girls, my name is White Rhino PSO, and today I am finally playing something that isn't the Shrouded Isle. Today I'm playing The Consuming Shadow, which is a game made by Yahtzee Croshaw, who you may know from his Zero Punctuation game review series. A lot of the games I've been playing for the channel have been either roguelikes, where when you die you lose all progress and next time you start it's a brand new game, or roguelites, where when you die some of what you have done progresses to the next life. This one is considered the latter, but the main difference between this and the other games I've played is that this one is a lot more event-driven, with a whole lot of really interesting flavor text to read as you play. Now, before I jump in, I'm going to switch it up to full screen, because it will just make it all that easier for me to play the game. So, anyway, speaking of flavor text... March 10th, 2015. A shadow is trying to enter our world. One of the ancients. The runes confirm it. I don't know which one. All I know is that they arrive at Stonehenge 3 days from now. One hope remains, the ritual of banishment. 4 runes incanted at Stonehenge will close the gateway. The trouble is, I don't know what the ritual is. If I investigate the strange events heralding the shadow, maybe I could piece it together. That's all I have. A maybe. Now, interestingly enough, even this text will change from playthrough to playthrough. Now, you may have noticed a very interesting button on the screen right now. So, when you've played this game to death, and you've seen pretty much everything it has to offer, there's really only one option. Challenge modes! No, there is a sanity meter in the game, and as you lose sanity, sometimes the different options the game gives you will be replaced with a kill myself button, which brings up this interesting little mini game. And as the game shows, as you click, you're able to fend off killing yourself. Like I said, doing that, whether you succeed or die in that little tutorial of it, even this changes. But I'm going to get right into the game. You've received a text from the Ministry of Occultism. Cursed towns are the best place to find what you're looking for. If you want my advice, start at Hoblham and work it out from there. Alright, so you have 60 hours to... the game takes place in a fictional version of the United Kingdom, except Stonehenge is set in place, but every other town on this map is randomly named, which I think is really neat. The black dots are towns I don't really know anything about. The red dots are ones that are infected with the shadow. And sometimes you get text messages from the Ministry of Occultism that suggest you go to that particular town to see what's going on. In your car, though, other than the health meter, the sanity meter, and how much money you've got, over here you also have, there's medical supplies, so you can heal yourself up between dungeons. Your equipment trunk, which you don't start off with anything, except for bullets. It's also got sort of a survival horror aspect in that bullets are very rare, and you can actually only hold 6 of each of the different types. There's the normal ones, I believe it's hollow point, which does a lot more damage, or armor piercing, which can cut through enemies to hurt the ones in the back. Also there's lockpicks. There's a spell book, because you can learn magic as you go with the 5 different runes, which I believe these are all set what the runes are named. Casting the banishment ritual will require me to invoke a mantra consisting of 4 runic syllables. I must investigate the Shadow's activities in order to learn which and in what order. In the meantime, I could also use 2 or 3 runes to cast smaller level incantations, but is my mind prepared to dally so unwarily with such forces? Even if you don't know the spells, you can try to cast random ones, but I believe that has a very bad effect if you do it wrong. Also, casting magic in general will actually cost you some sanity. There's also the clue book. My studies have shown that three distinctive ancient ones are currently active. One of them is trying to break into our realm. The one I must banish. A second one is assisting them. A third ancient one, for ineffable reasons of their own, is working against them. Attempting to banish the wrong god would be disastrous. I must gather clues and identify my enemy. Here's where we basically play bingo with information. You have no idea who these 3 gods are to begin with, but as you play the game, you'll get clues which can help you fill out this table and give you at least an educated guess on which of the gods you're supposed to banish. Also, if your sanity gets really low, you can inject some sort of like back alley drugs to make yourself feel calm for a while. Alright, so Hobbleham is where the ministry suggests we go. No. So let's go. You've received a text from the Ministry of Occultism again. Network's down in Sumley, and I need a message couriered there within 13 hours. Don't expect a warm welcome if you let this slide. Oh. Where's Sumley? I could maybe make that if I go from Hoblum to Blessing to Sumley. But I'm going to continue on to Hoblum. Alright. Enter the town. January 10th, 2013. 2:13 p.m.? I am not a fan of military time. The madness that underlies this town appears to be a subtle one, but troubling signs have begun to emerge. In response to my questioning, a few residents have seemed ready to give an urgent account, only to think better of it, or be shushed into silence by another. A number of anonymous notes have been passed to me by various means, some demanding that I leave, some revealing details that sicken my soul. There is an evil here, I know it, one so loathsome that it will freeze even the busiest tongues. Investigate further. I received a text seeking to arrange a meeting, but when I called back, the woman who answered knew nothing about it. She said it was her husband's phone, and she was worried as he had not come home from work. She revealed that he worked as a forklift operator at a large storage facility not far up the motorway. I pledged to investigate immediately. Now we get to the action section, where you play as a silhouette, and you have to, well, in this one, locate a missing person or what remains of them. You can go to your notebook at any time, your spells. There's a Zelda-ish style map over here. Status effects. The weapon you're using... Oop, that's not the button I meant to hit. You can cycle through the different ammo. And there's also runes, so you can do spells like mid-dungeon, which are also the 1 through 5 keys, and I have to be careful about that because I accidentally hit it like that. There are you can shoot your gun or you can pistol whip, which is a very useful effect, or a very useful way of dealing with enemies. If you leave a room while there are enemies present, it will lower your sanity. And if you reach 0 sanity, I believe the game just straight ends. Oop. Alright. January 10th, 2013. Mostly garbage, but there's a piece of sturdy wire I could probably twist into a lockpick. Lockpicks are useful because anytime you find a locked door, you only have a 15% chance of opening it. Most places do have keys that you can find, as well as to unlock doors all the time. I have found a discarded wallet containing £6. This is based in the United Kingdom, so money is in pounds rather than dollars. Alright. The Yo rune has been inscribed on the wall here in yellow upside down. The associated god would regard this as a grave insult. That might help us. I believe that means that somebody is the U rune, but you can also cast it. How do I do that? The rune upon the wall seemed to respond to the invocation. I felt an inexplicable ease on my mind. You gain sanity for that. Now, I'm not sure if this is worth doing, but I'm going to throw the EU rune into my table because it means whoever is the EU rune would be insulted by the fact that it was on the wall upside down. You can sprint also. It's just not always the best practice when enemies can spawn behind you and then you lose sanity. I found a very old 9mm ammunition box with 3 bullets remaining. You only have a maximum of 6 bullets to start, so that doesn't help me a whole lot. And a dead body. I found what remains of the person I was sent to find. There's nothing I can do to help them except get out of here and break the bad news. Unless there's any more loot to be found, I can safely call this operation complete. Time to go. Oh, Jesus. Sometimes when you finish a dungeon... Shit. Oh, that's the face. Sometimes when you leave a dungeon, or when you finish a dungeon, the game decides to spawn an enemy that you can't really kill. Anxiety seems to be getting the better of me. I feel hot and nauseous and my hands won't stop shaking. So I don't know exactly what that effect does, but I have it. Alright, I've recovered some dusty jewelry I estimate to be worth about £3. I gained some more money. Return to the car, yes. The news of the death did not, it seems, come entirely unexpected to the poor soul waiting for my return, but they seemed to appreciate my efforts. As I made my excuses, they pressed a wallet into my hands, explaining that it had been left behind by a previous visiting occult investigator. The white god is not the god attempting to invade. I know you're reading this, scholar. Your actions will have far further reaching consequences than you could possibly imagine. Alright, so... the only hard clue I've got is that the white god is not the invading god. So I'm going to put white. I think I'm going to get rid of that rune. Just I'll put it up here. So now we know that somebody is a white god. What was the other thing? Is not the invading god. So, well, there's invader, not invader, possible invader, and invader's ally and invader's enemy. I just know that white is not invading. Alright. I think I'm going to go to... I'm going to go to Waterhill next, because I'm actually not sure if it will let me go from Blessing to Sumley, given that it passes right over water. But yep, the name of the game is basically go around, try to get clues, and when you think you have enough clues, go down to Stonehenge and get rid of the god. I got a message from a family member. Hello, dear. You didn't think I'd forget your birthday, did you? I've sent you £7. Do try to invest it sensibly, so I get a little bit more money. Sometimes there are random events while you're driving. I am greeted with a startling scene in the middle of the road. A large man clutching a large and vicious kitchen knife stands over a terrified woman, apparently his spouse. He announces that he is convinced that she is possessed by the darkness, something I cannot verify from where I stand. He moves to stab her through the heart. I have only seconds to act. Just like in FTL, where if you have different ship upgrades or types of characters, it will let you do a special option. I do not have a stab-proof vest, so there's nothing I can really do there. So instead, I'm going to inspect the wife. I have more experience with the shadow than most, and I do not sense a speck of it on this woman. I yell this conclusion, and can apparently sound quite authoritative when I set my mind to it. The husband drops his arms, then the knife, convinced. The woman is quick to forgive, and in gratitude gifts me with one of the bracelets from her wrist. It looks to be worth about 6 pounds in gold. So even more money, which will definitely help me out. Alright, I've made it to Waterhill. The town is calm and peaceful, oblivious of the shadow. My heart feels pained and heavy as I am confronted by what we stand to lose if I fail my mission. This is one of the few towns that is not tainted in any way, so I can either visit the hospital, where I can buy more of those sanity drugs, or refill my med kit, which I probably should have done before I came in here. Or you can spend an hour to find supplies. After an hour, I have found the following items on sale from individuals content not to ask questions. I am definitely buying the body armor, which you can only have 3 items equipped at a time. I don't have any hollow point, and they cost 3 apiece. I'm gonna buy 3 of them, because it costs 15 to refill your med kit. And I'm definitely going to want to do that at some point. Might as well top myself off a little now. Yep. Sometimes the clicking is a little finicky on this screen. Well, in the game in general. Yahtzee actually suggested playing with a gamepad, like an Xbox 360 controller, rather than mouse and keyboard, but I just really like using mouse and keyboard. So I'm heading off to Sumley to deliver whatever it was that the Ministry of Occultism wants me to deliver. I've received a text from an unknown number. I will pull out your bones and drink the marrow as your remains twitch and burble at my feet. That cost me a bit of sanity. It's sometimes it's a gamble whether you want to open different text messages or not. I have made it to Sumley. The message is received by a flustered man dressed not dissimilarly to myself. He is agitated enough that I am forced to awkwardly remind him of the agreed payment before he can run off, whereupon he throws a handful of notes at me and disappears into the shadows. I believe I definitely gained some money. The staticky effect is a sanity thing happening. I feel quite buoyed by the clean air here, and the people are friendly enough. It can only be a matter of time before they catch the shadow's attention. I am going to spend an hour to check the supplies. After an hour, I found the following items. Might as well buy that. So, prevents anxiety, which I believe was that status effect I had earlier. And I can't buy any of these without going below the 15 mark. I think I'm gonna leave it for now. Right. Now, I don't really have any information on anywhere else, other than the fact that Hobblehem seems to be straight up just... I don't know if that X means the town's gone, or if the X means that I cleared it. I'm gonna go to Almsall, though. As the sanity goes lower, sometimes you'll see, like, faces in the fog and such. Thump. I am startled into full wakefulness when something heavy and fleshy slams into my front bumper. I stop the car out of reflex. The unmoving mass in the road could be human or animal. Anxiety seizes my heart. I'm gonna drive on. As I drove off, I felt a mixture of guilt and intense relief when I heard a human voice shouting angrily at my retreating form. It seems I'm not a killer today, but I doubt my potential victim will be forgiving. I should avoid the police in the near future. I don't know if that I don't think it cost me any sanity, because 39 looks familiar. Another text message from an unknown number. You're dreaming, you're dreaming, you're dreaming, you're dreaming, you're dreaming. There's some more sanity lost, though. So I made it to Almsall. Nope. The taint upon this town brings to mind the work of a medieval plague. Everywhere I look, I see eyes dropped and jaws slack in silent wails of anguished torment. I saw a tarpaulin in the street, covering a mass a huge mass from which something that may once have been a limb extrudes. This is not the typical work of the shadow. I feel I am drawing closer to a source. Not strong enough for a full rift, but perhaps an artifact. Reports indicate that the strange events began after the police raided an abandoned house. A number of artifacts were seized. The facility the police uses for evidence storage will be my next destination. It must be recovered. I am willing to take the risk. Thankfully, the vile air in this place makes my mind heavy and confused. Thankfully? Which goes some way to suppress the aching terror I should feel at the prospect. Oh, okay, that makes sense now. Investigate further. Find and recover an occult text. But right now, the timer is showing me that it's been about 20 minutes, so I'm going to cut this video here, and that will allow me to start up the second video with a nice dungeon straight off the bat. So, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.